Hi everybody, it's Alan and Kimberly with another video from Green Rabbit's Think Tank, and today's quick topic is going to be leasing space. Now, I know a lot of you, when you're opening your business, you might want a retail space, you might need a retail space, you might need an office space, you might need all kinds of space. Our advice today is be very, very careful when you are leasing space, because these commercial leases can be oftentimes that thick, and a commercial lease is completely different from a residential lease. And you might be asking, well, why is that possible? For example, in commercial leasing, it is quite likely that you will be responsible for everything in the space that you lease.
What happens there, it's called a triple net lease. So if somebody's asking you about a triple net lease, it will be the absolute cheapest lease you can get. So you might want to save money, but what happens is
you are responsible for everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. If a car drives through the front glass windows, you're responsible for replacing the windows. If a heating system, a furnace, an HVAC, a rooftop unit, whatever happens goes out, you're responsible for replacing that. And now don't just think that you can kind of skip it, and when the lease is done, you'll return it to the owner, return the property to the owner, and they'll be stuck with it. Oh, no, the people that are doing triple net leases this way, check all of these things and you're going to get a bill for it. So remember, when you're shopping around for your leases, it probably is a good idea to have somebody experienced in leasing at least review your lease before just signing it, because you may be paying for all types of things that you really don't want to pay for.
So, Alan, when would I buy a building?
Well, that's a good point. So it's almost like we thought about that. But
Alan just moved from a leased building to he purchased a building. So the topic is apropos.
So let me tell you my story. I was leasing space in what they call a Class A building. That, as you would expect, is one of the nicer buildings. And in addition to the lease, there's this thing called CAM. You're paying your share of the snow.
Common area maintenance, CAMs.
You're CAM. You're responsible for paying that. By the time I was out the door, not including utilities, things like that, my lease on a 1,200 square foot building or 1,199 square foot building was about $2,400 a month. Then I got lucky. Right down the road, I found a 1,450 square foot building, a little bit older, needed to do some work into it. By the time I did the work, got it all set up, added the insurance, all of that good stuff, my monthly payment to the bank, to everybody, was about $1,400 a month. So I ended up getting an extra $1,000 of positive cash flow just by buying the building. In addition to that, I now own the building, I built equity into the building, and that worked out really great for me. Why is all this important? Well, I had a relatively short-term lease in my other building. Imagine if, instead of signing a 5-year lease, I had signed a 10-year lease in my Class A office space.
But that's 5-year versus 10 is important. See, when you're first starting a business, you want to get the lowest rate possible, and you're trying to do anything you can to save your cash. So what a landlord will do is say, okay, we'll sign you up for a longer term and we'll give you a lower rate. Remember that rate is actually going to increase every year. So you have a 10-year lease and you're going to see a cost of living plus raise in your rent every year. It will save you up front, but to Alan's point, if you have these long leases to save money, it is really a lot harder to get out of them.
Right. So if I would have had a 10-year lease, I probably would not have been able to buy this building and save all of that money, because I would have either had to ask the landlord to let me out of the lease. And how excited do you think the landlord's going to be to let me out of the lease? Probably not terribly exciting. So
what happens there, I know I keep interrupting you, but I live this. So this is like when you talk about it, you can oftentimes buy out of a lease. So if you have a 10-year lease and you've decided you're going to move away from that location after 3 years, a lot of times what you'll do is negotiate with the landlord and say, give them whatever. So you'll look at how long it's taking to re-rent properties in the area, and you'll say you'll pay them 2 years up front. So you get out of 5 years, you pay them 2 years to get out of the lease, and then you get out of it and can go on and do whatever you want. So that is one tactic to get out of a long-term lease, is what's called a buyout.
Correct. But sometimes you might not be able to do that either.
It's just a tactic. We're just teaching.
Just teaching.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, back to what I was trying to say. If I would have had a 5, 6, 7 years left on my lease, I would have had to ask the landlord for a buyout or to get out of the lease. And honestly, they don't have to do that. They might not want to do that, and they might not do that. If I would have had that lease, I would not have been able to purchase this building because I would have been stuck in the property for a long period of time. So, in summary, when you're leasing space, try to spend some time looking at the term, looking at what you're responsible for, and possibly have somebody experienced in leasing and leasing contracts take a look at it so you know what you're getting into.
Now, so one thing that I do, because I just need office space, is I went and looked at what's called temporary space. And now my temporary has been 3 years, but I work with a really great company in Florida, and I have a very, very, very small office with some administrative a la carte support that I can get, like some mail and whatnot. That is a great low-cost option if you just need an office. You don't need to go rent massive offices. There are a lot of temporary spaces. There's also shared workspaces that will give you an address if you need an address as the headquarters for your business. There are a ton of options out there when it comes to leasing, and leasing is the right option in a lot of cases when you don't want to put cash up front. My business is quite a bit newer than Alan's is, and he had the cash, and I don't need an office and need to put my cash other places. So you have to look at what's right for you.
I think that's about it for now. Thanks for taking a look at it. We're Kimberly and Alan, and if we can help you with our Green Rabbits think tank in any of your new business startup, current business adventures, or anything else, check us out, send us a message, and we'll get back in touch with you. Thanks for watching.